So I'm just making up that as I go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adjacent with Jace, the tabletop interview and review show for the Adventures in Authority brought to the Black Tower Stores. I am your host, Jace, and with me today, a crafter of worlds with a menagerie interest as the story unfurls full of fantasy and distrust, giving inspiration to players so they can hone the characters so their destination will go to a far-from-home visitor. Backstories he weaves into plots we'll inquire, through victory we achieve the payoffs we desire, so my rambling will stop so I can finish somewhat faster. Let's bring him in now. It's Eric, the Dungeon Master.
Woo. Hey guys, welcome to Thursday Adjacent with Jace.
Whoa.
Last week on chapter 78 we... Oh, wait, different game. Sorry.
Neither one of those numbers were right. Well, no, there was a 7 in it.
Oh, I know. Yes, well, we were at
67? 67.
67, yes. I looked at my notes just to be sure.
Well, thank you, Eric, for coming on to the show. It has been a whopping 2 months since you've been on, which is the longest period of time in between your visits onto the show.
Yeah, I mean, all I said was make sure every other player got to go at least once before I came in, and you heard me, you followed my directions.
I am one to occasionally listen to other people. Just on occasion.
Yep.
That
does occasionally happen.
Yeah. But some crazy cool stuff happened last session. I don't really go much about what happened directly in the previous sessions, mostly because we were there and we answered questions first. And there's never any
Hmm.
questions about what happened. Mostly we resurrected a kid, and Darelove's father continued to be an asshole. So
Yes, but less of an asshole.
he was an asshole. Not even,
Yes.
he was put on.
He was 0.2% less asshole.
When you first looked at
And
him, there was less assholiness to his face.
yes,
It was sad.
and Volred was able to remove a couple points of daddy issues uh, from his pool, which was good.
Hmm. Oh well, he's alive, I guess. We'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
Could have gotten so much more accomplished. How he died. Damn.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on with what we have. I did mention it's been 2 months the last time you've been on here, which is the longest gap. But I will also bring up, as I brought up with Ari last time he was on, it's been 2 years since we've said goodbye to our previous campaign. Are there any
Yep.
aspects of that campaign that you reminisce about and you're like, man, it'd be cool if that were the situation going right now?
I would say mostly the whole campaign. I feel like in certain respects, last campaign was better, and I think that's just because you guys consolidated as a party like pretty early, and you guys were not as much chuckle fuck as you guys are this campaign. There was You guys were like serious people who had serious goals and were very serious about accomplishing those goals. And so you guys made plans. You comported yourself with dignity mostly, and that was all great. And you guys had recurring NPCs that you guys dealt with. Oh, so good.
Good
Uh,
times.
and then you know what it really is? Like I had two new people, one of which was a goblin join, and that set us off in a very odd trajectory very early in the game. And at that point, there was no correcting it, I think.
I think it's the characters. You don't got your Nox, you don't got your Omix, you don't got your Kilders.
But hey, I thought I was going to. Like, I've said this, like, I thought I was going to get a very different Arthur than what I got based on the treatment, the character treatment that was given to me. I thought I was going to get a different Calum than, based on the treatment. Even you are a bit more anarchy than you said would be there. Like, I knew you would probably lose some of your logic when it came to fighting strong monsters, and that would get the party into trouble. But I guess you have over delivered on the chaos compared to what was promised.
My chaos goes into sometimes the party's not doing anything, and I'm already not doing much as it is, so I'm going to go do something.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I get bored,
Yep.
and I can
But
I can hold on to it for a real long time. But by God, if no one's deciding what they want to do, I'm gonna go find something to do. But
yes, and I
nothing
will
too
say
risky.
that's nice because then you actually use the job boards.
Yeah, it's like, oh, all you do is go find
And
jobs because we're just sitting around doing nothing. We need to find something to do.
yeah, I
So
know. I need to start charging you guys like taxes and shit, so that way you guys, might actually have to go and get money to afford to live. But you get to a certain part of your adventuring career where money is less of a issue.
we already got a house that's we're gonna get taxed on coming the next year. So just gotta make sure we have the money for that one.
Yeah,
We don't even live
that
there. We just kind of have it.
that's true. That's true. But last campaign, you guys got a steward and some people, and you guys turned that into some business money making opportunities, and it funded expansion and all that good stuff. And that was entirely passive on your part.
It was just cool to come back and see the neat stuff that was going on. Like, Look, it's
Yep.
functional without us. It'd be very
Yep.
dysfunctional if we were
When
involved.
Kelder and Party like come back, it's like, wait a second.
Did
Why
we
is there a whole other floor to that building?
did we steal the neighbor's house? Oh, they bought it. Okay, just took that wall out, I guess.
Yep. After that fire, took the opportunity to go around and buy up a lot of condemned properties that were immediately adjacent and just expand.
Like, oh, is my room still in the same place? Yes, we probably had like the smaller rooms now compared to the rest of them. Oh,
You
it's
know.
nothing moved. I guess because that's going for us. Wait, I could turn my character into super serious and have like interesting stuff, but that would just be me controlling everything. That was already the
Yeah.
main source of issues last time. I don't need to be that again.
Yeah.
I could.
Oh well. But like I said, I'll just have to railroad you guys a little harder next campaign.
Just need to rail us every once in a while, Eric. Rail us real hard. Don't give us any breaks. Just keep pounding
Uh-huh.
away at us. On to
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
first question
Yeah.
I have set up here.
I have
Uh,
weird players.
with the topic of the entire party, let's get into my first question. Does it seem like we're starting to hit our stride and sticking to our situations better? Or do you feel like we're still too chaotic for you to do anything?
Uh no. I mean, in your defense, this is the longest you guys have like been in one area for a while. Um, which is good. I mean, I guess other than like Rue Alatos, over Neil Travel say, you guys spent several sessions there. Um, but yeah, I mean, you guys were talking about like, oh, we don't want to have like major events and stuff that we got to handle with our backstories and shit. And it turns out like that's the only way to get you guys invested in anything. Because, you just say, oh, hey, this is part of, Volred's backstory. And next thing you know, these adventures have staying power. So, like, what you tell me you want and what you guys actually respond to are two different things. But yes, I'm guessing you're hitting your stride, especially if you guys keep doing some investigations and keep doing actual quests. You guys might actually turn into real adventurers.
Well, our backstories don't have to be world changing events. We will go take care of our backstory stuff, though. It just, if you want to tie them into world changing events, that's entirely on you, I guess.
Well, I guess that all kind of depends because
Just
uh,
leave.
there's only so much backstory I have gotten from my, for the characters
Get
in the party.
that extra, like 3 extra pages I just sent you a couple days ago of the secrets and everything on it.
Nope.
Good, because they don't exist.
I was fixing to say, I was like,
Did I
you
goose that
wrote
one?
anything?
No, not me.
Yeah, because you said extra pages. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you sent me like 3 sentences.
That
That was
one's
just
three
like, you know
paragraphs.
my, you were like, my family background. I don't anticipate it in being involved at all. This is just our goal. It's like, okay.
There you go. For like the 5th time, you've all heard it here. There is nothing going on. I'm boring. Leave me alone.
Well, yes. Everything that's going on around Izal is stuff that Izal actually does.
If you see me do it, that's it. That's what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
Alright, good. We're trying to hit our stride, I guess. That's okay. But also, you've had a party size of 3, 4, 5, and 6 now. So far this entire campaign. Which seemed to you that it works the best? Currently sitting at 5.
I think 4, because when we drop down to 4, there's just something about that number, especially I guess with like the players that tend to play, that stuff starts clicking a lot faster. Um, so I'm guessing that like once you start to get to 5 or 6 players, um, all the players have got to be like on their game with like trying to further the game. If they're not, then that's too many people trying to drag in too many different directions. Not that I'm saying that I would, you know, put a cap on it or anything. Like I've said, um, that ultimately I'm fine with adding whoever to the group that you guys want to play with. Like I'll run the game, you guys decide who's playing. Um, but it definitely does seem that there is an optimum number, and that optimum number is four.
Someone probably has something they want to do before, and you're not stepping on someone else's feet for it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna get into some opinions of you towards the other people and characters. I would like you to go through. I made this short list here to describe each player's strengths and weaknesses on what they go through and the character they play, their kind of strengths and weaknesses. So, if you were to say, what are Kilmo's strengths and weaknesses as a player?
Ooh.
I gotta rub his
Yikes.
eyes. Yeah, I gotta think now.
Yeah, I mean I gotta think about that. Um, hmm. Yeah, I guess one of Dustin's strengths, or at least one of the things that I always like about him being a player in my campaigns, is that he's never afraid to deep dive the world that I've created. And he's very invested in creating characters that are part of the world of the setting. Generally speaking, you're never going to see him create a character that's from some place other than where the campaign is taking place, because he likes to be rooted in the world that they're in. That's just the way he plays, and that's great. And he's pretty creative. Uh, the downside there is that he's not really that good of a wordsmith and stuff with his background, so he requires a lot of help getting his background stuff on paper and organized, because that's just not really how his brain works. So there's a lot of hand holding and questions at like 3 a.m. that get asked in Discord and text, which like I'm happy to do it, but it's good, but it also creates a lot of work.
Would you say
Um,
Caleb has a strength and a weakness, from your opinion, for what you're saying?
um, yeah, Calum's strength, I would say, is that he's very adaptable. He's the kind of person that looks at a situation and is like, okay, how can I be the best uh, party member I can be? How can I be of most benefit to this party? And I think in that way he covers his bases very well and helps the party out in a lot of ways that when Caleb is not present, his absence is felt. Downside is though, Caleb is also like really kind of go with the flow uh, thing, and is very easily talked into or out of stuff.
It's flaky.
And yeah, and maybe that's just all the time he spent traveling with Gorbeck. He's just kind of had to get used to that. Or maybe it's the fact that he grew up as a hermit on an island that rarely ever gets visitors because they have weird fog that sends people off in other directions. So he didn't have a whole lot of friends growing up. Like, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, like he could stand to be a little more assertive, a little more direct in some of the goals, because up until this point Caleb is just kind of every goal he's had has been something, either a goal someone else gave him or a goal he just kind of fell into because he didn't have his own goal for his life. And that's something I hope to rectify. I
Give
have
him
planted
his
the
own
seeds.
goals.
Yes. Yes, that's not gonna, that's not the way I roll. I'm not gonna wait until you guys least expect it, and then just like a little 1-2 punch. Uh,
I appreciate
right?
you taking that answer, making your answer not the obvious one of strengths and weaknesses being strengths, casts a lot of spells, weakness, doesn't have a lot of hit points.
No, no,
Because
no.
that
That's
would,
mechanical shit.
yeah, we
That's
don't want, I don't
mechanical
want
shit.
mechanics, because I can go into mechanics. I don't need you here for that.
No.
On to, I have it in order here on my list for it. I like it.
Okay.
Aaron, son of our, played with us last campaign.
With Kelmac, yeah.
But I want,
Um.
this is actually, he has two characters, Gander and Kelmac.
Well, yes, and then yeah. Um. So I guess I'll start with Aaron. I mean, I guess this shouldn't really go as any surprise. Aaron's biggest weakness is follow through. Um, like he's got lots of stuff that he wants to do. He wants to do character backstory. He wants to get more, RP stuff. He just, I guess, is not really at a stage where he really wants to make the sacrifices and do that work, which is fine. You know, every story has their static characters as well. Um, I just personally, as a dungeon master, I'd like to see him push himself a little more. Get at some of that good RP player energy, the big player energy, that uh, is in the party.
Big P energy.
Um, yes, but as a benefit, he's always down to play. So, I mean, other than generally speaking, if he's available and isn't having other issues, he's usually one of like the first people to respond and say yes, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. So he's dependable in that way, I guess. Kelmac, I think, kinda. So I guess you would say a common weakness amongst all of Aaron's characters is that they also suffer from a lot of their players' issues, um, where like Kelmac's backstory, like just going through and talking about a code of ethics, because even if he doesn't have a deity, he is still a paladin and one of an oath of glory. So there's a lot of like some basic work that still kind of needs to be done there. Uh, and I would say generally part of that is my fault, in the sense that I probably just need to be a lot more of a Nazi about making sure that that stuff is ironed out. Because some players have proven that, okay, as long as they have a starting concept, I can throw them in the game and we could work it out where, as it goes. Uh, so far, that has not been the case with his characters. So, yeah, they could use some more development. Um,
Yeah, I would say that the one thing about Kelmac, how Aaron's playing him, it's Aaron knows Kelmac. I feel like more than he knew Gander. He knows who Kelmac is. He might not be able to vocalize it or portray it in like written form, but if you ask him a question, he will be able to answer it in a couple of seconds. He might not think of it at the time when he's answering like a form. But I feel like if I ask him something about Kelmac, he's gonna have some kind of answer for it.
yeah, but I think the other thing, and this also, I guess, kind of feeds in a little bit uh, to me and my sensibilities as a dungeon master and how stuff should work. But Kelmac, temperamentally, in the way in which he's played, he is not a paladin. He is a fighter.
Yes.
He Kelmac is a fighter that happens to have divine abilities for some reason that we cannot determine, because that part of the backstory is more or less empty. Um, so that is just kind of like uh, my thing, where it's like, you know, I get that, in fifth edition, you don't have to really be related, to gods or, anything for paladin. That's fine. But it's in there. Like, you, as a paladin, you give an oath, and paladins draw their power from that oath. And so that oath is very critical, uh, mechanically as well as metaphorically for that character. Um, so I think in some ways, players, especially if you're going to play something like a cleric or a paladin, like anything that's in a real kind of spiritual or religious vein, like you got to be honest about why you're picking those, because those classes to me have a mental component to them and not just a mechanical one. So if you're going to be a paladin, paladins have that power. They are different than fighters because of their oath. Clerics are different than wizards because of their faith. And so those are things that you really have to be narrowed down and have those understood, in my view at least, if you want to play those characters. If you don't want to do that, do not play a cleric or a paladin. Go play a fighter, go play a wizard or a warlock or something. Do that. Um, Now that I can step off my soapbox.
I like it when you get angry about paladins.
Well, but it goes back to the bit of that conversation we were having pre-stream, the one that you wish we had actually had on stream.
Don't think
And
I'll have
that
time
is
for that
like,
today. Sorry.
yeah, the kind
Save it
of
in 2 months.
sensibility that I have, and you're right, as a dungeon master, I put a lot of emphasis on story and the reasons behind things, whereas a lot of players might put that on mechanics. So a player might look and say, oh, well, this is the kind of character I want to play. And I go, no, 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 that's the kind of class you want. The kind of character you want to play is something completely different, and it has nothing to do with race or class. So I just come at things when it comes to characters in a completely different light. And I know on our DM, game, that drives Sean crazy just a little bit. Since he's like, you realize you picked every single way I could hurt you, you picked it. I said, yep, but I had a character concept, and that's what I'm going with.
Eric, we all picked terrible decisions. We all made bad decisions in that game. All of our
I know,
characters are
but
terrible.
it's like Sean's like, here are the 7 ways you can fuck yourself over.
You've picked 8
And I'm
of
like,
them. I don't
check,
know
check,
how.
check. Yeah, yeah, I picked 8 out of the 7. Yeah.
This wasn't
You
even
know,
an option. How did you do that?
well,
You unlocked a
I
secret
found a
one.
way. I found a way. And he was like, hey, this is a bad idea. You realize you're going to be the first one dead this campaign, right? And I go, yep.
8 out of
But
7 would play again.
But is if I had that happen, and at least I followed my character, uh, then I could be happy with where I end up.
He died the way
But,
he lived. 8 out of 7.
so,
On to the next individual. Although, you went mostly the weakness. Is there a strength that Kelmax ideally is designed?
he hits hard.
All right, we're going to that.
He hits
mechanical
hard and
issue.
started the game with full plate.
So mechanically, he has strength.
Yeah.
He hasn't written the strong points of his character yet. Is what you're telling me.
Yeah, TBD.
Yeah. On to the next individual on my list here. We have Rab, one of our newest member.
Yeah. He's gonna be hard to talk about because he is very new. So Rab is a person. Strengths. I feel like it's because he and I had long conversations about this in our approach. We both are very introspective people, and we take a lot of that introspection into our characters and stuff. So he does spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, well, what is Volred to me, and where, and like, what do I actually want to accomplish with Volred? What is he thinking? So Volred as a character benefits from the insight of his player. And that is one who is definitely eager to learn and willing to ask questions, and also is committed to actually having a character arc. Think about, like, even though Volred hasn't become a completely different person, his trajectory has changed quite a bit, and we don't necessarily know where that's going to land. But there has been movement. Um, Weaknesses. Some of that is also just a lack of experience, um, and but we mitigate a lot of that with the answering of questions. Um, and he doesn't have the benefit of having gotten to play 17 plus years in this little world of ours. Um, so he's very limited in that case, but he gets to overcome a lot of that. And as far as strengths, I mean, obviously, like, Volred is an interesting character, if nothing else. Um, and I think he recognizes that he's kind of like one of those guys that rolled into it. He was born with a position of power and privilege. He has, and the dice gods have determined this, incredible skill with a bow and in combat. But there's not really anything else to him, you know? Um, and I think Rab has played into that a little bit more with, like, Volred still trying to figure out who he is as a person. And it's like, okay, well, I've been traveling with these people. Is that all I am? Is just a noble who's good with the bow? And that's a weakness of his, but it also is kind of becoming a strength as he's, developing his arc and figuring out where that character is going to grow. So I look forward to see how the next few episodes are going to shake out.
Let's move on to Ari, one of our
Oh
classics from
Lord,
last year.
I got to be
Strengths,
very careful.
strengths and weaknesses of Ari.
Yeah, because Ari will definitely hit me if I say something he doesn't like.
This is a safe
Um,
space.
for the players. uh, yeah. Okay. Uh, well, I love Ari. you know, he's been playing Dungeons and Dragons as a player of mine for a long time. Obviously, we have a lot of history. Um, and in one strength is, in certain respects, he has no shame. So he's kind of willing to try anything in the game. I mean, he has his preferences, sure, but he also likes to experiment, and that experimentation is good. Um, and I think that is of great benefit to him. And he um, certainly um, is, and he has no issue diving in to
Don't read the question, Derek. No comments for
the
you.
comments. I know. I was thinking earlier. It's like, do even have them on?
Eh,
It's like you must have turned them
we're
off,
all just
probably
listening to
because
you.
I. Oh, okay. Well, yep. That's you. Um, but
Walking
yeah.
on
So where was
eggshells.
I at?
He's a
Yeah, walking
confident
on.
individual.
Yes, he is confident, but he's also like, he jumps right into character, right? So for him, he definitely enjoys the theater of the game. Um, which is probably one of my favorite things about having him as a player. As far as weaknesses, uh, I would say he tends to play characters that are incredibly aloof and generally naive. Like, if you think about it, even going over 17 years, a lot of his characters in my campaigns all seem to have that naive uh, little bit of chaos underneath. So, in certain ways, all of his characters have a grain of them that is the same, uh, and other part just different flavoring or different arrangements of the same flavor, I guess you would say. Um, so, yeah, same ingredients, different dish. So I would
That
like
sounds
for
weird
him,
coming from you.
yes, I would like for him to decide a character concept, a personality that is completely different and unlike him at all. It completely unlike anything he's ever done. And I think Knock
Nock is
was,
the one who's like keeps coming to mind. It's like, yeah, a lot of his characters, but Nock was that character who was the
yeah,
exact
not
opposite.
Knock, and Knock was an incredible character. I mean, at first there was a little bit of that naivety just because he's not from the Prime material, like Yandere. So like he's got a job and he doesn't understand why it's not as simple as just doing that job. And so he had to develop that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. With Nock, he did it differently, and that's why I think Nock is my favorite character that Ari has ever done. The same way I think Kelder is my favorite character you've ever done.
I have a very small
Omlik was
list.
pretty good. Uh, I think he might be my favorite that Kilmo's ever done. I'm just not sure yet because he's had a lot of characters. Omlik's definitely one of the more memorable ones.
On to some of
That's for
his
sure.
Ari's characters. Arthur Yandere. What are some strengths you think that they've developed as characters? Yandere is pretty new though.
Yeah, he's pretty new, but I would say one of his strengths is that no one ever knows what he's going to do. Like, he's straight up, he's willing to do whatever, and he's got no secrets, but you have no friggin' clue what he's going to do. He's always got some other weird trick up his sleeve. Um, and he's just kind of completely unapologetic about it. Um, as far as a weakness, I think that naivete is much stronger in Yandere than it is in most any other of Ari's characters. Um, and I think in a way that is distinctly uh, unlike the Feywild. So he's definitely taken some liberties there, and I don't know where he's going to go with that. So even I don't know where Yandere is going next, but I think that will be interesting.
Wow. It could go to me, but I want to go to Bevo next because Bevo's on here too.
He's not even in the
I
campaign.
want to hear your strengths and weaknesses of Bevo. Make it quick.
Okay. Uh, Bevo again, shameless. He loves to play. He likes being. He really likes to role play. And whenever he gets on a character, he's really good at character concept. So he'll know what he wants to play, and he'll be like, Eric, I don't know how this character needs to be made in the game, but this is what I want to play. How do I make this character? So he like completely doesn't give a shit about mechanics, which is nice. That's what I mean. Like he is a person that cares about the character and not the mechanics. Um, Downside is he has kind
Zero
of
shits about the mechanics.
yeah, zero exactly. He cares nothing about the mechanics. I like the way I explained it the other day is that some people get upset in movies and stuff when you say, well, how is that possible? And people respond, but magic, as if magic just kind of erases all logic that should apply to this situation. And Bevo and very much, he's like, this is a game. It's a fantasy RPG. So fantasy RPG. And it's like, no, there are still rules. Like physics exists in this world. And you can die. There is such a thing as a stupid decision. But he likes to just, wave the magic wand and say, it's a fantasy game. And then that just explain everything, and I'm just supposed to accept it and move on. Uh, which is why I say, like, bro, I love you, but I am not your dungeon master. It's like, go play an Alex's game.
Rude. He would definitely die in my game.
Yes,
I don't
but
know if
I
he'll
will
ever learn
say,
his lesson. He
you
might die
are,
several times.
but you know what? You already have a Dante, so you have more experience dealing with Bevos than I do.
The idea of like a Danny and a Bevo in the same game, I don't know if I would have to kill their characters because the party would probably do it for me.
Yep,
They've come like this
but
close to like killing Danny's character just because, for one, a huge bounty on his head. Two,
I know, but
can't stand you.
yeah. But here's the thing: you are much more resilient for that kind of what I would call bullshit than me. I have a very little tolerance for that kind of stuff, which is why, like, your party could not have me as a dungeon master. I'd kill them all.
Oh, it'll make
Yeah.
they suffer from their consequences, and the party just winds up hating different characters.
Nope, they do not suffer enough, in my opinion.
You don't know what they've suffered through. It's hilarious.
You're right, but I'm just saying that, like, that's an amount of craziness that'd be like, okay, we have to discuss this outside of game because this is pissing me off.
Okay, the difference between you is you'd get pissed off about it and do something. I would just let it happen and I would let the mechanics take care of it for me and not have to worry about it.
Yep, nope. Because that's the thing. Like I said, I don't care as much about the mechanics. I care about the story. So,
I know
yes,
the mechanics will take care of that bad character. I don't have to worry about it. And the story
true.
will drive those mechanics to come into play.
Well, maybe. I guess I'm a little bit kind of like an author. It's like, no, you're fucking with my outline. Stop it. No.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
You've only played in my one shots, but and even that.
That is also true.
Mechanically, I'll make it hurt. I don't need it.
I'm just saying, like, it's so weird because I would have said, like, in person, you're more of an asshole than I am. But as a dungeon master, I am way more of an asshole than you are.
I got an argument with Ari in our last session about a Pythagorean theorem. Because he wanted to push something like straight down at the angle he was at. It's like, there's no way you're going to push him down farther than you would push him away. So, and I just told, no, you move him 4 feet, not 10. Like, oh, fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you no. I don't. Which you'll tell him no too. But just it seems like I'll say yes more than I'll say no.
Well, yes, but you'll just be like, no, and I'll be like, no.
Like, why are you
Just like,
this?
I would say it is so condescendingly.
On to the next one. I put Momo and Tater on here, but you don't have to talk about them. They've only been in a few.
Who?
Momo and Tater. They're those guys that showed up that one time, and then they died. Well, one of them died.
Yeah,
they're
I'm
not
pretty
important.
sure one or both of them were moderators of our stream at some point.
Pretty sure both of them are.
You sure?
Nah.
I haven't seen them on in a while.
Our best moderator is Brit Mix Studios. We both know that.
That, yes.
Absolutely.
That is true.
Well, on to
She
me,
also does the arts.
On to me, Jace. What are my strengths and weaknesses? This is on the quiz, by the way. Who? They're not the moderators.
Yeah. Safe space, right?
Safe space. I've had all kinds of bad things said about me.
Yeah, it's so...
Mostly from you.
Yes, yeah. I tend to criticize your DMing more than your playing. But I think that's because we have different fantasies. You know, we like different stuff. So, which is totally fun. You know, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of hard because, like, on one hand, I could say you generally only play, a member of one particular lineage. But that's not technically true because you do play other lineages and other games. You just don't do it in my game. Um, so, and I don't know what you did as far as backstory in the DM game. I only know your general lack of backstory in my games, which is interesting because even Kelder, I had to come up with your backstory because you're just like, I have amnesia.
I wanted to do the amnesia trick because there I haven't had a chance to play it. So like,
But you know what? I think I rolled pretty well with it.
yeah,
You know. But yeah, so I think definitely one of your strengths as a player is you are also very good at recognizing when the party is stalling a little bit and then kind of getting stuff moving so that I, the dungeon master, don't have to intervene with like you're attacked by orcs or rock falls, everyone dies. Um, so in that way, you're like an assistant game master that I don't actually have to prep. You're just like, oh, hey, we need to actually do something. So you're very proactive. And I definitely, as a dungeon master, appreciate that. Um, you also make sure to remind me anytime I have advantage.
I like I like helping the
Uh,
dungeon
on,
master, especially when it
yeah,
hurts to
on
be.
attacks against you. So you are a great benefit to me, and I appreciate that. Um, weaknesses, weaknesses.
Calves,
Um, what?
calves.
Yeah, I could probably say that. Uh, I mean, your hair game's also a little weak, but
Yeah.
no. I don't know. I think it would be nice uh if you played. I would like to eventually see how you would handle a very complex character. Um, because even though you've done stuff that aren't Zella's, a lot of your characters are kind of like standard fare. I would like for you to play a character that is so complex that you could go through the entire campaign and we could learn all these things about you, but still not actually know who you are.
But wait, there's more.
Yep.
I am
Or you'd be
playing
like,
I am playing a character like that. It's just not in your game right now.
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, bring some of that shit into this game, okay? Give a effort for every character.
I wanted to play this character though.
Well, hopefully I'll get a rogue or something out of you next time.
Oh, my rogue I did. That was a really good one. That was a good character too. So yeah, it is pretty much. I don't play good characters in your games. I,
Yeah.
I play them in everyone else's game. This because your
There you
games are like
go.
3 years long, and I have the thing I want to play at the time. And I just play that for like 3 years, and I don't have.
Yeah.
Then when I'm doing that, I think of other shit and I play that in other games.
Okay. So you were saying like my weakness is my games last too long?
No,
Bullshit. It's the best kind. Although sometimes I will say it's like, yeah, it's like these campaigns do last a little long because you get into it and I'm like, I hate to say it, but I'm already looking forward to the next campaign, man. I'm looking forward, and I'm like, no, Eric, you can't start prepping another campaign. You've still got like a year and a half of this
damn
one
it.
to go.
And we could fuck up those plans. You never know.
Um, but Izal, um, yeah, weaknesses is in certain respects she's not really a person. She's definitely a static character. Um, and I don't know. I would like you to make even more trouble for the party.
I don't
You
want to get
know,
arrested. That'd be dangerous.
yeah. But it is just kind of weird because Izal is the kind of character who, in one breath, can be stately and noble, and then in the very next breath, be like, "Fuck yeah, I want to kill him." It's like, let's start a bar fight.
I blame that on my Zella heritage.
Ah, yeah.
We are chaos people, but we have
Well,
to maintain a level of like decorum.
yes, it just kind of sucks because on one hand, like you had all of this lineage, and then like Kelder redeemed your family just a little bit,
It's the son of a
and
bitch.
then you're just kind of like not ruining it.
I'm working on like
You're not
improving it.
improving it. You're you're not
I
ruining it.
can't really improve it much by not fighting a rock, having a lich necromancer person escape, and
Yeah.
helping the family of a trades guild essentially. Don't really help that much.
Yep. That's it. You guys need to be slaying more dragons and doing more dungeons.
I helped with some political intrigue down south. Got that going for me, but
Yeah.
stopped an
But
assassination that no one will know about.
that's true. That's all hush hush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
What would you say? Because I'm interested now. Like, what would you say is your, like you and Izal, what the strengths and weaknesses there are?
I think as a player, my strength is I know what I want to do without having to stop and pause and think about it. Whether it's in the campaign of what I want my character to do tomorrow, or in a combat, I know everything that my character can do. So a lot of times I'm fucking bored because I already know what I want to do. I'm just waiting on everyone else.
Yeah.
The weakness is, as for myself, is I've gotten better at it, but I still do it. Is the backseat DMing. I try not to rules lawyer, but I'm also a stickler for mechanics. Even sometimes
Yes.
I'm wrong. I found out I was wrong the other day because of a misinterpretation. Like, huh, not used to being wrong. But
Yeah.
I try not to do that just because I don't want to
Yep.
dog
I
the
know what you mean.
situation.
Like, I have a stack of pages over there because one time you were like, Eric, that's not really how that works. Here, I actually have some cheat sheets. Let me send them over to you so you can print them out. It's like, thanks. I'll do that.
Like, oh, you don't have to use them. I just was like, man, this
No, I
economy,
mean,
this economy is
I,
bullshit.
I do keep them because they are useful. I printed out some other stuff.
Or
So,
its weakness. I mean, again, I would say I can make a character. I could. I like playing when I'm role playing a character how I play them. Instinctual. I know what if my character gets in a situation, I know exactly how they'll react because I think that much. I'm like, well, this is what they would do, and I just do it. But much
yeah.
like Kelmac, I don't write all that stuff down. I just kind of have it as a mental space of when I play the character as it, and I do that for every character I do. Like, well, this
Yeah.
one's a snobby ass. This one's an asshole. How would this particular asshole that I'm playing take care of the situation? It's like, well, they solve it, but they're gonna be real rude about it the entire time. And that's just how I like to play them. Now, Izal, I'm gonna go weakness. Her weakness is I made her like young and not have a ton of backstory. Is the weakness because I wanted to start the campaign the same way I started campaign one with Axel, is a character who didn't have a ton of backstory. They just kind of wanted to go out and see what the world's like. But that in turn
You
makes
live
it
your
so
glory days.
his all gets kind of boring because she's doing it from the very beginning. Like the first
Yeah.
page of the first book of a long series of a book series. Not going to be supers that you're going to hear about their name, maybe where they're from, and a couple things about them. And we're still, I feel, in this first chapter of Izal's life, so it's not going to be very exciting. Strength, and she knows what she wants to do, and she'll do it. But she's not going to be detrimental. I know that Izal's not going to make a decision that will directly hurt the rest of the party because she takes their idea in consideration when she does something. That's why if she does go and break the law, it's usually something that's just going to get her in trouble if she gets caught.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see that, and I think that's why like when other people have kind of asked me, because like Aaron's like, well, you didn't make I was like, you don't make Alex do all of these questions, all this homework. I said, and you don't have to do it either. You requested this. First off, you asked me, and then secondly, um, I don't feel like I have to guide Alex. Like Alex, you get something and so a lot of it may come up off the cuff, but his backstory and his character will come out. Doesn't require any prodding from me. Um,
So, like, if there's ever a question about Izal, if you ask me the question, I can answer that question without having to think about it. Because I have the
yeah.
concept of Izal down to it, because that's the character I'm playing.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of backstory there, guys.
Yeah. Well, yes, there is a lot of backstory, really.
It's a family book.
Just, yeah, just not something. It's just something that Izal is choosing to not let define her.
Exactly.
And I guess if I really wanted to be an asshole about it, I would force the backstory a little bit more and force you to reject it. But that would have gone directly counter to your wishes that you stated at the start of the
And I've
campaign.
said it in my Jace a few times. Like, if at any point Eric wants to make it a point to have me do something related to her background, he can do it. I just have no intention of being the center stage in anything. If
Yeah.
it happens, I'll do it because that's just what'll happen. It's the curse of being a Zella. Sometimes shit just happens around you and you're just stuck dealing with it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from what we had. A new character, a new player. Aaron was trying out a new idea that he was doing. Ari and Kilmo both have experience, but like they didn't take a whole bunch of center stage to the last campaign, other than Olmec being the paladin and the main thing. And then we had Bevo at the time. Like, I don't need the main story. I kind of was like a big part of the main story last time. Let someone else take care of it. But I'll still do it.
Yeah.
Just don't need to. That's why when I get bored,
Yep.
I go and do something.
Yeah. So, what's your second question?
That was a very long series of questions. So we got 5 minutes there. We got a speed run through this. 2 truths, 1 lie. You got one ready?
Yeah, so probably not as good as my usual stuff, but like I said, I've plumbed a lot of the juicy stuff. So, there is indeed a conspiracy at the highest levels of Kios's government to assassinate Volred. The party formerly known as DBA S&M is secretly a laughingstock of the Adventurers Guild and their Ariellen. There are secret entrances and exits in Sweeten Up Manor that the players do not know about.
I think I know which 2 of those are true.
Yeah, and I can imagine you probably think you do. I would challenge you to think differently, however.
I know for sure
But
we used to be the laughing stock. I don't know if we still are.
we shall see.
I have 2 truths, 1 lie. Mine all sucked because again, I have a bunch of things I haven't said already. And I think Eric would know this, which one's the lie by default if he would think about it. Truth, 1 lie. Izal has resurrected before. Another one is since the campaign, Izal has said her name, and Izal has visited the Hands of the Golden Forge's primary estate. Again, mine are kind of hard to do because I haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's kind of a question of how much attention people have paid
Yeah.
to the little stuff you said.
Ta-da! Okay, we've got We got one. I think we have time for we can fit one more question in here. Is there a homebrew rule currently that you are using that you regret using, or is there a homebrew rule you wish you were using?
Home rule that we're using that I regret using. No, not yet. I think the fall damage rules have done kind of what I want them to do. Um, One that I wish I could use, honestly, uh, I don't know if you use this too. I know Tater said that he uses it, and the more I thought about it, the more I like it. And that's the idea. It's like every time you drop to 0, you take a point of exhaustion. Um, and that would also mean that, like, if you accumulated 5 points of exhaustion, you're not, or like every time you've been resurrected or something like that. It's also, because he had one where, like, every time you drop, you take a point of exhaustion, makes combat, more deadly. Um, and is a way of handling successive damage in combat in an interesting way. And then I forget that there was another one that kind of limited resurrection. Not that big of a deal in that case, but specifically for the combat one. Yeah, I think dropping to 0 in combat, giving you exhaustion, I think that would be really, really nice.
I like that one. I don't use it. I don't think I've ever played with Tater. He might be doing it in his other home game. It does that one.
Maybe,
One that
because that's what he said.
one that I think I would like to try just to see if we can piss off players. Hiding death saves. Like the DM rolls.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Yeah,
a good way to piss some people off. But that's a neat one.
Yeah.
Well,
I know also back last campaign we did this, and I haven't done it this campaign, but I really should get back to it, where at the beginning of the game, right before, I had you guys like roll 2 or 3 d20s, so that if I ever like wanted to make a perception check or something for you guys, like during the game, I would just go, oh, I need to call this, we'll just go ahead and mark off the top here. So that way you guys still did roll them, you just don't know what they were for. And that made it really easy for me to do, rolls on the player's behalf and choose to either tell you or not tell you. So that way you avoid the whole, hey, roll me a perception check. I got a 6. Oh, well, never mind then. You know, it's like you can avoid all that, and I probably should be doing that this campaign as well, because it worked really well last campaign.
Yeah. Okay, Eric, I'm gonna need you to roll me a D percentile.
Shoot.
Does no one ever have their dice ready?
Oh no, ready? No, dude, I have a freaking wormwood tray here with like a bajillion dice.
I still don't like that you
54.
Keep your wormwood tray in the cardboard, which I can't stand. 54.
Yes.
You are immune to being intoxicated by alcohol for the next 5d6 days.
I'm a dwarf, bitches.
Yeah.
Just not Kelder, because homeboy got like poisoned first
Alcohol
time.
poisoning. Woo. Good times. Not really. Nearly died. Okay, well, I think this is a very successful episode. There's still a lot more we could probably talk about, just because that's how it goes with the DMs. You can ask them all questions and irritate them very easily.
I know. That's why, like, sometimes I do legitimately think the show would be a benefit if from time to time we had more than one person.
Yeah.
Like 2 players or a player and a dungeon master. And then maybe we did those like 90-minute episodes instead of 60. I don't know. But I feel like that would be interesting. Because I, as a dungeon master, am also always really interested to hear what players think of things. So I've asked, like, Kilmo not that long ago. I was like, hey, Kilmo, what you think's going on with your weird shit? And then he'd tell me, but like, okay, I'm kind of curious as like what aspects of what I've shared or seem to be hitting home for you.
Yeah.
And if you're close,
Break
you
Break
know,
Studio says, where
so
would we put the other TV? Like, I'd have like a drop down screen. I'd just slide in here.
yeah,
Eric,
you
if
could
you
do
had a
a drop down.
question, you could just get in the chat and ask them, and then we would ask them.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Your
I
reasoning is simple.
could do that. But I don't want to step on your toes because this is your show. So like obviously you have all the best questions ready to ask.
But you do recommend bringing another person on here so you could ask them in person.
Well,
Okay.
no. I'm not saying so that
That's
I could
exactly
necessarily
what you're
ask them.
saying.
But I'm just saying that I was referring more specifically to like you and like two other players talking between each other on what you think's going on. I like that dynamic.
We'll see. I have space for a third person. I had Tater behind the counter one time. But
Yeah, and I am
sadly,
sure. All right, fine.
sadly, Eric, I'd like to thank you all for coming, because I really have to go, and I hope you all liked watching this really crappy show. So please like, follow, and subscribe is what I'm supposed to say. And as always, we'll see you next Tuesday. Good night, everyone. Auf Wiedersehen. Hand wave. Guten Tag.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bankwoman on jazz.
Walking hand in hand on the ocean floor, down deep we wander. Louder we sing, no there is no cure.